Good afternoon, guys. It's Workin, bringing you a quick update on Bitcoin, and then we're going to go over some of your questions. So this is going to be a very, very quick update on Bitcoin. If you want a more detailed analysis, go look at the video that I just put out about two or 3 hours ago before we had this little break up above 10,600 here. So last time we spoke, we were huddled right below 10,600. I told you guys if we did have a decisive break above this zone, we were very likely going to come up and test at least 10,900, if not about 11,000. And of course, 11,000 I think is going to be a critical zone. We get above, if we take out, if we get an open and close above 10,000, I think we will come up and test about 11,500. Very, very likely. There is a potential. We may potentially get stopped at about 11,200, but yeah, my bias would be up here to about 11,500, and that's because, for obvious technical reasons that we can see on the chart right here. But not only that, guys, coming over and looking, as we discussed on the prior video, at CMEs, guys, remember these are very likely sell orders up here, and until those sell orders get filled, price often acts. I don't even like to use the term magnet because it's such a cliche thing used to fill gaps, but typically that is what happens. So let's wait and see. I am expecting to get at least a rejection off this zone on the first pass between 11.5 and 12,800. But if we can get up here at 11.5 and start trading anywhere above 11.5 or even huddled right below 11.5, I do have to say that would be a fairly bullish sign. I am expecting there to be a lot of sell orders sitting up here and between 11.5 and 12,000, and we'll have to wait and see kind of how this ends up playing out. But yeah, as of right now, it does look like I told you if we broke above 10,650, that very likely 10,900 would be the next stop. We have now gone up to 10,930, which pretty much 11,000. Let's call it 11,000, and it's going to be very interesting to see if we do get rejected in this area or if we can continue up. As I said, if we get an open and close above 11,000, I do think on a 4-hour, I do think 11,500 is our next stop. Now, what will happen if we get to 11,500? What will be my bias there? Again, I would expect a decent rejection off that zone, guys. And I have to say, until we are trading above that CME gap, it's basically above about 12,000. Until we're trading above that zone, guys, I am expecting a rejection there and possibly coming back down and testing this $9,400 area for all the reasons that I said on the prior video, which I'm not going to go into now. Checking moving averages, exponential moving averages. This is on the 4-hour chart, guys. Smaller time frame. We are now testing that 21 period EMA on the 4-hour, guys. A decisive break above this. By decisive, again, a 4-hour open and close above the 21 period EMA on the 4-hour here would be technically a bullish sign. Again, we'll have to kind of wait and see how that plays out, but technically that would be a bullish sign. And I'd really like to see, that the 50-day. Or excuse me, we're on the 4-hour. Let me go to the daily there. Yeah, we're seeing that the 8-day EMA sitting right there at about 11,000, just above 11,000. So yeah, certainly the potential for some very serious resistance right around 11,000 there. But again, if we can get a break above that zone, guys, I do think a quick rise to 11,500 is not out of the cards. Again, where I'd be looking for a pretty strong rejection there, guys. In fact, I'd be considering a short somewhere between 11.5 and 12,000, depending on how we get there. But all right, I'm going to go ahead and wrap Bitcoin there. I'm going to go ahead and quickly look at some of your comments here, and I'll come back to Bitcoin at the end. We'll go ahead and circle around. Let's see. This is from our yesterday. This is a video from yesterday looking at some of the comments. Arcelia says, I would like to thank you from the bottom of my heart for the time you're investing to educate us. Well, thank you. I appreciate that, man. That's very, very nice. JK says, first few seconds, a thumb up just for the music, man. Now I'm going to watch and enjoy the video first with my coffee. Rock on, JK. Payment21 LLC says, thanks. We've shared your latest video with 5,000 of our followers on LinkedIn. Thank you very, very much, man. I really, really do appreciate that. And I'm honored that you would do that. I truly am. So thank you very much. Nikolai K, I talked about Nikolai in my prior video, and a big shout out to him one more time, guys. Thank you very much, Nikolai, for the tip. And again, if anybody, if you guys do leave me a tip, guys, I know a lot of you do that anonymously, and I'm so grateful. I truly am so grateful. But if you'd like to drop me your name, drop me a comment, let me know that you have left me a tip. I'd certainly love to publicly thank you personally. So anyway, yeah, I'll just leave it there. Again, don't ever feel obligated, guys. But if I've helped you save some money, or if you've earned some money and you want to throw me a tip, that's great. That's wonderful. I certainly appreciate it. Never, ever, ever feel obligated though. And certainly, guys, if you're brand new into this and you can't afford to do it, by all means, please, please, please. I don't want you to. I don't want you to tip me. I had someone tip me the other day, and actually said he'd made a little bit of money, and I knew that he did. I knew that just from past conversations. I knew that, of course, I'd never say his name, but I knew that he didn't have a whole lot, and he sent me something anyway. And if you don't have the money, I really, if you have the money to spare and you want to say thank you with the tip, then by all means, I certainly appreciate it. But if you don't have the money, then please, please hang on to it. And once you become a millionaire, then you can throw me something back. All right, Adam S says the CME gap around 2,000, or excuse me, 7,200 has the same value as 8,500 gap and 10K gap. Well, that was a question. Yes, it does. Now, that does not mean it has to get filled right now. Absolutely does not mean it has to get filled right now. But yes, it does have the same value. And yes, probability says we will come down and test that 7,200 and likely fill it. And this is why I would really like to see Bitcoin consolidate. I would not mind seeing Bitcoin drop down a little bit further, especially if we can do it in a nice, healthy way. Fill those gaps on the way back down and let alts pump a little bit and then have a nice bounce for a continuation to the upside. If I had my druthers, that's how Bitcoin would do it. Let's wait and see if it does. All right, JH says, not sure if I played the video at 2 times, but I'm loving it. I also really appreciate you uploading the vid in Razor Sharp 1440. Thank you very much for the great content. Thank you very much, JH. Nope, you're probably not in 2 times. I'm probably just a very fast talker. But I'm glad you're liking the videos, and thanks for that. And yeah, if I'm in a hurry, I'll upload the videos in 720p, and I know that's frustrating because I know that's a little bit blurry. But I don't know what it is, man. YouTube must hate me, but they take forever to get my my videos up. And even when I upload them in a higher resolution, it doesn't come across as that higher resolution for a couple hours at least until after I upload it. And I'm not sure what the problem it is with YouTube and why, because I know other people have told me that they don't have that issue. So yeah, I don't know. If anyone has any recommendations, I'm all ears. But yeah, again, I don't know. I don't know why that is, but yeah, sometimes I just don't have the time to wait for an upload in that higher resolution, and that's why you'll see the lower resolution videos. But I try to do the higher res when I can. All right, Tofu91 says every time this, yeah, see here he is. Every time the 360p resolution, LOL, not saying it's your fault. Yeah, because as we said, and I think we discussed this a little bit earlier. Yeah, it's because you watch it right away when I upload it, and I know that's frustrating. I don't know why YouTube takes that long. I really don't. All right, Jay says, sir, I respect the fib extension. It respects the fib extension at 13,008 down to 12,003 and 12,4. Stalled at the 618. Yep, you're right. We discussed that in the prior video, Jay, and you were dead on, man. You're exactly right. Good call. Derek says more cushion for the push in 11:55. Yeah, I know what you're talking about. 11:55 in yesterday's video, and yeah, man, I'll just leave that there. I'm gonna get myself in trouble. All right, Quincy Lane says thank you. You're welcome, Quincy. Thanks for stopping by. 12th Root says working. If you pull up the historical log, yeah, I'm not gonna read all this, but 12th Root, you're exactly right. And by the way, man, kudos to you for writing all that and figuring that out. I do appreciate that, and yeah, man, you're right on. Anyone interested in a long-term trend line, I would suggest looking at this 12th Root comment and drawing it out for yourself. But yeah, it's interesting. Again, I don't put a whole lot of weight in the longer-term predictions. I just don't find them that valuable. But certainly interesting and certainly fun to do. Cardano Green says, love rewatching your videos while price is moving. Thanks. Question about the CME gaps. Do they only trade during the business day, or does weekly or weekday evening trading count for closing the gap? Yeah, the weekday trading in the evening does count for closing the gap there, Cardano Green. And thanks for watching, man. I really appreciate your support. All right, Errol says, hey, working great once again. Love your options. I think you mean opinions, and in particular your approach to open and closing of the candles in the 4-hour and daily, as this has helped me and my focus and strategy, and so far it's worked fantastically well. I should have paid more attention before, having experienced significant losses in the past, but like you mentioned, plenty of future opportunities. FYI, I just watched a video published by The Moon, and interesting to note that he has, for the first time, published a monthly short analysis, one that is very similar to your monthly summary. On this video, it seems they're stealing your ideas, but nowhere near as detailed. This is not the first time I noticed this, by the way. Just thought I'd let you know. I'd like to thank you for your time and sharing your thoughts on a regular basis, and I'm sure many that follow you greatly appreciate you. Well, thank you very much, man. I really do appreciate that, Earl. And yeah, I don't know who this Moon person is, but I do know that there's a couple people that continuously, mysteriously, very coincidentally, decides to publish very, very similar things. I'll just say that, almost verbatim sometimes, to things that I say on a video, and then a couple hours later I'll find it on one of their videos, or someone will point it out to me. And yeah, it's frustrating. I mean, I should be flattered, I guess, but it's frustrating. I will say that it's frustrating, and it's lazy, and it's extremely misleading, and it's one of the reasons that I made this YouTube channel, because I will never do stuff like that to you guys. You're gonna get my raw opinion, right, wrong, indifferent, for better or worse. You're gonna get my raw opinion, and if you like it, great. If it helps you, great. And if not, you turn me off, tell me you hate me, tell me I'm a moron. Doesn't matter to me, man. I just created this video or this channel for you guys, and hopefully it helps. All right, Anilia, or and Telia, I hope I'm pronouncing your name right. Please, no disrespect. Hey, Workin, just a message to say that you're amazing, and I look forward to your videos. I messed up a trade today, but I'm now locked in and until it rises again. Well, hopefully it's rised again. Actually, it probably has if you wrote this 22 hours ago. So yeah, hopefully you're back into profit, and congratulations if you are. And thank you very much for stopping by. I really, really do appreciate it, and appreciate your support. Handy Rem says, nice intro. Thanks, man. Let's see, ATA021 says, how to spot the next altcoin cycle. Basically, the next altcoin cycle, and again, I want to be very clear here. I don't think that we're going to have the altcoin run, the alt season, that we did in 2017. I think that it's a very different market today. I think most of the institutional money and smart money is going into Bitcoin. I think a lot of these shit coins are going to die off. Please excuse my French, guys. Sorry, I really don't mean to cuss on this. I cuss like a sailor off screen, but I try to be polite on screen and not offend anybody. But my point is, I don't think we're going to have the same alt season that we did. I think a lot of these coins are going to die off, and rightfully so. A lot of them should. I think some of the good projects are going to stick around, and even some of the good projects are going to die off, man. I mean, just because it's a good project doesn't necessarily mean the market's going to choose it, right? That's what a free market's all about. So yeah, it's going to be interesting to see. I think some of the altcoins are going to do very well, but again, I don't think we're going to see the 500x that we saw back in 2017. I just my opinion. I just don't think it's going to happen. But how do you spot the next alt season? Because I do think alts are going to pump at some point. And how do you spot that? Well, I would say Bitcoin dominance dropping below about 55%. It would be a good start, and then Bitcoin moving sideways and not really moving more than about 5% up or down in either direction. Once we see that, I think altcoins are going to start to pump. So again, that's again just my opinion. So there you go. All right, Miguel says, thanks for working. You're welcome, Miguel. Thank you. Joshua says, nice intro. Thanks, man. 12th root regarding the value of BTC now compared to the future. The predictions of, say, BTC hitting 100K or $1 million of today's USD would only increase in value if USD inflates, or any other currency for that matter. So any inflation in the world currency would send the price of BTC even higher. Yes, and this is what I was trying to explain yesterday. You're exactly right. This is what I was trying to explain yesterday, and this is why that prediction by John McAfee of a $1 million Bitcoin by the end of 2020 is, yes, do I think it's going to be a $1 million Bitcoin by the end of 2020? No, I don't. But the point of that is, if you look at the national debt of not just the United States, but so many countries around the world, it's completely unsustainable, and I have no idea how we're going to pay it back. I truly have no idea how the United States is going to pay it back, or how many of these countries are going to pay it back. So what happens when you see something like this? If you go throughout history, obviously inflation, because of course, what do countries try to do in order to devalue their currency so the debt that they owe is not nearly as much value-wise? Of course, it will be dollar-wise, but how do you inflate away that value? Well, you print money. I mean, and this is why government currency is such a scam, and this is why governments in general, in my opinion, just are not. They don't have any incentive to run things properly. This is why private business, when you look at the waste and the fraud, it is in government, it's about 40%. When you look in the private industry, it's anywhere from 2 to 5%. Why is there such a discrepancy there? Because in the private industry, there's actually consequences when they don't produce. They don't make a profit and they go under. In the government, there's not those consequences. They either tax more or print more money, which has its own consequences. But the point is, it's a completely corrupt system run by corrupt people who have never run a successful business in their life. And so this is why, yes, you're exactly right. As that debt bubble becomes greater and greater, and we're unable to pay that back, we try to inflate away that value. How do you do that? You print money, and eventually you run into hyperinflation. Now, again, this is not me trying to spread FUD or anything else. This is just my personal opinion, and I do think though at some point we're going to hit a boiling point, and I do think that that fiat money is not going to be worth the paper that it's printed on. Quite literally, even though that is quite the cliche, I do think quite literally that is the case. And when that does happen, you're going to see, you could very easily see a $1 million, $2 million Bitcoin, but how much value is $1 million or $2 million in that case? I mean, at that point in time, a typical car, what is the average car nowadays? Like, I think the average car is what, $15,000-$20,000 for the average new car, something like that. You could see a $1-2 million average new car. So the $1 million Bitcoin does not necessarily have nearly the value that it will not necessarily have nearly the value that it does say today. And again, as I said yesterday, if you think that's crazy, look at Venezuela right now. All right, Tim Lohan says, stack sats and chill. Rock on, Tim. I agree, buddy. T. Gribble, looking at the market on the... It's actually not quite that simple, obviously. But your overall point is, yes, hodling some Bitcoin for the long haul, yes, that certainly is... certainly, in my opinion, I'm not a financial advisor, but I feel it's the right thing for me to do, and everyone's got to make their own decision. All right, looking at the market on the 4-hour, lots of red, concern, not trying to FOMO everyone, but this is looking uncanny, like a planned pump and dump. Alts didn't react. Don't believe the commercial FOMO on that subject. To add, BTC did not respect any of the previous 2017 levels when it was going up, and little to no pushes up on the reaction rallies going down. Maybe too early to judge, but remaining cautious nonetheless. Be careful. I agree, T. Grubble. I agree that everyone should be cautious without question. I think you're hinting at, is this all a bear market rally? I don't think it is, and I discussed this in the video earlier today, so if you guys are interested, I'm not going to go into too much detail here. You can watch the earlier video, but the bottom line is you're right. A lot of the areas of resistance or potential resistance on the way up that we were expecting were not respected. We just blew right through it. However, the most important resistance at the 618 fib, between the 618 and the 65, from that swing high of 20,000 to that swing low of $3,150, that was respected. And so again, again, my bias is certainly we are not in a continuation of the bear market. This is not a bear market rally. I do believe the bull run has begun, but I am not a perma bull or perma bear. I will switch that thought in a heartbeat if we do break down below 6,500, as I said in the earlier video. All right, Ernest Simmons says, thank you very much. Thank you, Ernest. I appreciate it. All right, let me quickly go to the video from today, and let's see. Digital Capit. This is just spam. Stand by. All right, guys, had to get rid of some spam. All right, Peter says, per usual, I gave it a thumbs up prior to even listening to the message. Thanks, Peter. All right, Errol says, thanks for for the clarity. You feeling a bit confused by the market at the moment and making some silly decisions. My TA is getting very good, just having problems acting on emotions taking over. Yeah, I understand that. And typically, that's good feeling, though, man. You understand that your TA is getting better, but you just don't necessarily have the confidence in you because you're just learning how to trade, and you're just realizing that you're actually making some good calls. Been there, done that. When it all started to click for me, I was the same way. I said this is what the market is likely going to do, but I was too scared to pull the trigger. And I would recommend small trades. Earl, I would recommend very, very small trades to start off with. I would recommend setting your stop losses very, very tight, and I would recommend paper trading. Paper trading, paper trading, paper trading. I can't say that enough, guys. It costs you nothing. It's absolutely free on TradingView. You can trade with fake money and see how you do. See how you do. If you're consistently making profits paper trading, then that should get rid of that pit in your stomach that you have, that lack of confidence that you have in your own TA. So by all means, but you have to actually put in the money. You have to actually hit the buttons, and go through the motions of making those trades and getting out of those trades, because it's those very split-second decisions, the results of those very split-second decisions that you need to see on paper in order for you to actually gain the confidence to pull the trigger. And before you risk any of your own capital, if you haven't made gains paper trading, then you really have no business trying to make gains with your with actual money. All right, CJ says, love your analysis. Thanks, CJ. Appreciate you always stopping by. Kevin Roberts saw those divergences and bought that sucker. Rock on, Kevin, man. Thank you. And thank you, Kevin. As I said earlier, man, I really do appreciate you leaving that tip. All right. Parma Bucko says, thanks, great work, thanks. Hey, thank you, man. Radiant Lunatic says, thanks, Workin. Noticed that you are keen on EOS. I got stamped out of a substantial stash last night and then went up. Could you please have a quick look at EOS for one of your videos to see where we could get back in? Big love to you. Hey, big love to you, man. Stand by. I'll go and take a look at that. All right, quickly looking at EOS, we are finding support right on top of about 590 there. That is relevant support. That was what back in April was resistance again in May. May turned into support there and basically danced on top of support and is right now, even though we have wicked below it quite a few times here, even had a 4 hour, or excuse me, had a daily closing below it there. And again, we're looking at the daily chart here, by the way. So yeah, I would say this is a pretty pivotal moment. In fact, let me just see something real quick. If I grab that extension, wow. So yeah, that's hit perfectly right there off the 786. Typically, that's denoting a little bit of weakness. I was hoping that it would hold there at the 618. Obviously, it did not. Let me look at the overall volume on this thing. Let's see, overall volume. So yeah, that's not bad. That's Bitcoin. Yeah, I would my bias on this would probably be we're well below the 21 EMA. Let me just check the weekly just real quick. Yeah, sitting right on top of the 21 weekly exponential there. And that 21 weekly exponential is right around 550. Yeah, I mean, my bias would probably be a testing of 550 again, at least. In full disclosure, if I go back here and look at the 4 hour chart, guys, you can kind of see that if we were to break down here, that there should be some decent support right around 530. And I actually do have some buy orders sitting right around 530, although 550 would not be a bad area. In fact, I may ladder in between 550 and 530 if this thing does end up breaking down. That being said, we are seeing a little bit of consolidation here. I mean, you could call this, and again, it would be extremely sloppy, but you could call this, not even really a falling wedge so much, but certainly more of a consolidation pattern and reaching an apex here in the next, likely the next 24 to 48 hours, if not before that. So, yeah, EOS not looking very, very strong, but I do think if I do think if Bitcoin decides to rally up above 11.5, which is a very, very big if, I do think EOS will likely follow it. But yeah, as of right now, I would, if you forced me to pick, I would say my bias would be at least a test of 550. Looking to the upside, if we do break above about 630, I think it's going to be a quick run to about 680. Looking to the downside, as I said, if we do break below about 560, I do think it's going to be a fairly quick drop down to about 530-ish. And I know that's a pretty small range there, but I really need to see how it reacts at 530 before I could give any more analysis to the downside. All right, back to your comments. Beta route test setting, I guess it is, says, hey, Working first, I like your videos, always watch them, but I think the 6K area is more than a usual resistance. I'm not sure what that means. More than a usual resistance, okay. It was by far the most strongest support that BTC ever built in its history, in its entire history. Furthermore, there was no test of the 21 MA, which is tested in a healthy bull run for sure, in every bull run. I'm not sure, a test of the 21 moving average, I'm assuming you're talking about. I'm not sure what you mean. There wasn't a test of the 21 moving average. We've tested the 21 moving average on pretty much all time frames. I'm not sure what you mean. On the fundamental side, nothing has really changed. Still no use case and no store of wealth. So yeah, maybe we go up in the short term, but this thing can still go down in a nasty way. But this is just my opinion. Keep up the good work and best regards. Hey, best regards to you, man. And yeah, man, nothing wrong with the dissenting opinion, man. And I certainly respect your opinion. I'm not sure what you mean by testing the 21 MA on every bull run. We've pretty much tested the 21 day MA. I mean, I can come over here and just show you if this is what you're talking about. I mean, on the 4 hour, clearly we've tested it multiple times. We're well above it right now on the daily. On the monthly, on the weekly, we're well above it. Coming out. Whoop. Sorry, guys. I'm using my non-trading account right now, which doesn't have. I keep forgetting it doesn't have the extra things. But we're well above the 21 monthly 21. So I'm not sure. Oh, I'm looking at exponential. You're talking about 21 moving average. All right. Let me pull that on as well because I do have that somewhere. All right, there's the 21 moving average. Obviously, on the 4-hour, we're below it now, but we were well above it. We're above it on the daily, on the monthly, on the weekly. So again, I'm not sure what you mean by we haven't tested the 21 moving average, but nonetheless. And as far as I'm assuming you're talking about the the 6,000 support back in the bear market of 2018. And yes, you're right. That was an extremely strong resistance. And yes, on the way up, everybody was expecting it to test. And yes, it blew right through it. And yes, on the initial rise, I was skeptical as hell, thinking that yes, maybe this is just a bear trap. But at this point, when we've literally got volume double where it was at the peak of the bull run of 2017, I just don't think you can ignore that. Now, of course, I could be proven wrong. I'm not a perma bull or a perma bear. If this thing drops below 6,500, I will absolutely 100% start reevaluating that, guys. I'm a trader. I mean, as a trader, if you're not flexible, you are not going to make money. You're going to lose. If you get emotionally attached to anything, you're going to lose. So I would just encourage you not to be emotionally attached one way or another, nor am I. But my bias is certainly to the upside. I'll reevaluate that if we break down below 6,500. But as far as I discussed this earlier, as far as not testing the 6,000 area on the way up, we have respected prior areas of resistance, prior areas of interest on the way up, and especially the most important one right at the 618, between the 618 and the 65 fib level at that 13,800, which back at the peak of the bear market, or excuse me, of the bull market back in December of 2017 and January of 2018, when we had those two monthly candles peaking out at I believe it was at 13,800. So that's exactly where they peaked out on their close. Not sorry, I'm not wording that correctly. That's not where they peaked out on their wick. That's where they peaked. That's where the candle in or the December 2017 candle closed, and of course the January 2018 candle opened right there at that 13,800. So is it any coincidence that we came right back up that to the dollar? Certainly we respected that, and that was having confluence with that 618 and that 65 fib level. So again, I would have to slightly disagree with that, but of course I could be proven wrong, and if I am, I'll be the first to say it. All right, of course, Borg Sly says, of course, gaps do not need to be filled, but they often are, but not always. Yep, you are exactly right. Jay Stinger says, get TA. Get TA. I missed the. Oh, I'm assuming you mean great. Well, thank you if that is what you mean. I missed the 10K area to buy and had a buy target of 9,500, 8,500. Had to draw a probable descending wedge. Also, in a possible pattern, we'll see if fall back before moving above 10,850, 11,000 to confirm, 2 top notch, and head lower. Thanks again for the 2-point TA. I'm glad I found your channel and hope to. Hey, thank you very much, Jay. I appreciate that, man. And best of luck to you. Bob says more gaps below. That is not the bottom. You know better. Well, thanks, Bob. I feel like you're wagging your finger at me, man. As I've said many times, though, man, you are the gaps down there at 8.5 and 7.2 will eventually get filled. No question about that. The question is, are they going to get filled right now? And the answer is, they might, but they certainly don't have to. They certainly don't have to get filled right now. Now, again, my bias is that we're going to come back down and test at least 9,400. That's what I've been saying. Of course, that'll change if we can break a decisive break up above 11,500. That'll certainly change my bias. And if we can decisively break above 11, yeah, I'll probably be a little more agnostic. But I really until we break that 11,500, I'm expecting a strong rejection somewhere up there, and I am expecting us to come back down and test about 9,400. Again, doesn't mean it has to happen. Just means that's my bias as of right now. So I'm going to go ahead and wrap things there, guys. If you do have any comments, questions, suggestions, please let me know in the comment section below. As always, would appreciate an upvote if you have enjoyed this content. Till next time, guys, please trade safe. Take care of yourselves. This is Workin. Signing out.